Baphomet, a demon believed to be an interpretation of the Prophet Muhammad from the Islamic faith, shouted as a battle cry during the First Crusades by the Turkish. King Philip would later go on to accuse the Knights Templar of being worshippers of Baphomet, to incite an inquisition against them to take them out of power, basically. The Knights Templar would then admit to worshipping Baphomet and be burned at the stake. Fun stuff. Lilith. Early depictions have her as a winged demon that would prey on pregnant women and newborn infants, later becoming a first wife of Adam, as according to the first human origin story in Genesis chapter 1. She would later become a feminist icon. Aptly, yeah, because you want this as a feminist icon. Also known from the video game Diablo. I don't know anything about Diablo, I just looked it up and I know that she's a character. Beelzebub, Lord of Flies and Dung. Mentioned in the Old Testament as the Lord of Akron, and is often believed to be the same false god as Baal. Depending on your interpretation, Beelzebub is pronounced Baalzebub, which is aptly probably where they got that. He is also reportedly to be smelling of crap. Like, actually, I've seen accounts of his presence smelling like crap. Apollyon, aptly named in Greek as the king of the fallen angels of the falling star. Wow, crazy name there. Also referred to in Hebrew as Abdonan, but I can't say that correctly. It's tough for my English mouth to correctly say. He will come at the herald of the fifth trumpet in Revelations as a star falls from the heavens and crashes on earth. Out of it will pour many, many locust men, strong as lions, as tough as bronze. They will inflict immense pain on the people of earth, and in it people will seek death, but will not find it. I give you these demons, these different monsters, as an introduction to today's video: Monsters, Mystics, and Mayhem. In today's video, I'm hoping to run you through some different things that I have uncovered in the past few months, as I have been doing research on psychics, on spirituality, and overall just a lot of fun stuff that I find very fascinating. Demonology is extremely fascinating to me, and likewise, spirituality is extremely important to me as a Christian. So I felt it was necessary to compile some stuff that I found, and hopefully this video will find you in good tidings. I pray that you're doing well. Oh, I have way more script in here that I was not planning on using. I forgot I did this. I have mainly 3 reasons as to why I'm making this video. The first one is a YouTube channel that I came across a few months ago now, that being that of Kelsi Davies. Kelsi Davies is a spiritualist, psychic, medium channel. She has a bunch of stories about ghosts that she encounters in her life. She goes on different quests to encounter the spiritual, the mystical, ghosts. And I've came across her channel a few months ago, and it's kind of just enamored me ever since. And it's enamoring for me. I feel like there are some things that I want to discuss, as I'll be getting into later in this video, that I feel are important to understand and look at when you are pursuing the spiritual in the way that she is. The second reason is of a dream that I had I think it was 3 weeks ago now. And that dream really hit me as this is a video I need to make, and it is important to make it, even though this video is going to be a horrible mess of a video, because I've been trying to make it for the past 2 weeks. I've been trying to figure out how to do this for the past 2 weeks. I've been editing, I've been scripting, I've written 4 different scripts for this. The main reason why I'm still pushing through and I'm still making it is because of this video.
Raw onion is the perfect chip to dip in marinara sauce.
You know what?
I think the video should be done by now. This video is a video I found on Instagram when I was perusing through Instagram one day. And this is the final reason as to why I'm making this video. Because that guy is just doing this ritual haphazardly. You know, he has a book, he's reading it, he's doing it right as far as I'm aware. But I think it's important to note that that is going to probably not have some fun consequences for yourself. I might be wrong, but I don't think opening up and doing rituals, especially over dipping an onion in jam, I don't think that's worth it. Those are the 3 reasons why. But with that out of the way, I want to briefly discuss my perspective on spirituality and all that sort of stuff, because I think it's important to set a groundwork before I kind of go in, start ribbing on Kelsi's video and, you know, bring to light the different things problems that I have with the way spiritual mediums do it. And of course, this is going to probably get a lot of drawback, but this is also based off of my world view. This is based off of my beliefs. You are free to believe as you will. I mean, you can do any of the stuff that I've shown you so far. You can do any of the stuff that you will see later in this video. You're free to do any of that. This is, after all, a free country. Unless you're... I think. It depends what country you're in. But with that, I want to still discuss it. Here, I want to quickly just go over some Bible verses that I think are important to understand the basis for my belief when it comes to spiritualism, spirits, ghosts, and the so on. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27. And just as it is important for people to die once, and after this, judgment. Job chapter 14, verse 12. So man lies down never to rise again. They will not wake up until the heavens are no more. They will not stir from their sleep. For the living know that they will die, but the dead don't know anything. There is no longer a reward for them because the memory of them is forgotten. Do not put your trust in princes, in human beings who cannot save. When their spirit departs, they return to the ground. On that very day, their plans come to nothing. As a cloud fades away and vanishes, so the one who goes down to Sheol will never rise again. He will never return to his house. His hometown will no longer remember him. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified. It's a ghost, they said, and cried out in fear. So as we can see from right there, we have some fairly basic depictions and explanations that when you die, you are dead. The idea of a ghost, according to my faith and my belief in the Bible as the living Word of God, is that ghosts aren't something that exist. That when you die, you die. You cannot come back as a ghost and a spirit. You do not stay on this realm. Job talks about Sheol. Sheol is basically, in the Old Testament, the idea of this waiting period, this waiting ground for when you die, you go there. And getting into some specifics of Christianity, the idea is that when you went to Sheol, that was a waiting area before the final judgment kind of was set up with the pure sacrifice that Jesus made when he died on the cross and rose again. That's very briefly. Getting into it will just kind of derail this video. all the more than it already is. It's already going to be derailed. I've edited like most of the footage. It's already derailed. It's all over the place, chat. Oh my goodness. Okay, so ghosts and spirits do not exist in the sense that they are not ghosts of past humans. They are just spirits that are in the world as we know it. And as we can see in these verses here, Isaiah 8:19, when they say to you, consult the spirits of the dead and the spirits and the spiritualists who chirp and mutter, shouldn't a people consult their God? Should they consult the dead on behalf of the living? The idea that using a spiritualist when there is a living God, kind of calling into that, like, guys, why aren't you doing this? You know, talking to the living God instead of spirits. This is a lot more specific to the Israelites. In today's age, anyone can just talk to God and anyone can commune with spirits. 2 Peter 2:1. This is in the New Testament. But there were also false prophets among the people, just as there will be false teachers among you. They will secretly bring in destructive heresies, even denying the master who brought them, and will bring swift destruction on themselves. The idea that these spirits, these beliefs, and these practices are destructive, and because they are not of truth, they will not lead to salvation or life. 1 Timothy 4:1. Now the Spirit explicitly says that in later times some will depart from the faith, paying attention to deceitful spirits and the teachings of demons. The basic idea that, again, as you, I just realized I spelled I Timothy instead of First Timothy. You see that? That's awkward. The idea that you aren't going to necessarily just be following a different god. You are going to be following demons, and they will be deceitful in their practices. They're not going to just be nice about it. The next thing that I think is important to mention is from Job 1:9-12. Satan answered the Lord, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Haven't you placed a hedge around him, his household and everything he owns? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But stretch out your hand and strike everything he owns, and he will surely curse you to your face." Very well, the Lord told Satan, everything he owns is in your power. However, you must not lay a hand on Job himself. So Satan left the Lord's presence. This is basically showing in context, in subcontext, that Satan still has to have permission to lay a hand on your head. That he cannot do that without God's permission, which will come about in the end times, when if you do not believe in God, you'll be cast into hell. But that Satan can use trickery, mockery to to make you believe one thing. Again, what is lying? There are other verses that I might show on the screen here and post of how Satan is meaning to deceive and to lie, to throw you off from the truth by masquerading as an angel of light, by prowling around like a lion. That these things are not good being good. It's evil pretending to be good. It's using falsities to deceive you. And I think that is why it's important to call out these spiritual beliefs, these practices. Because at the baseline, throughout all of history, there has been a spiritual world that we can interact with. It is all the more prevalent that it is important to know about these things, because you might be led astray. You might be led down a dark path. I'm going to get into some stories later on in this video that highlight some of those things. But right now, I just want you to think that if these things are true and real, like you might not even believe in the spiritual, but if the spiritual is real, how might it be deceiving you? Or how might it be best deceiving you? Or if it, if it isn't real, yeah, just ignore all these fairy tales. I don't believe it's fake in the slice. I think all of this is real, and that's why it's important to call into light that you can be deceived and led astray in it. And this is all without getting into some of the weirder stories that we have throughout the Bible, throughout the history of the world. There are some, again, I'll be getting into some stories later on in this video that I think are important both to myself and to others to look at and see how it impacts the world. Because ultimately, it's important to know about the world so that you can be best guarded against it. Introducing the obsessive brain tumor that has been in the back of my mind for the last 2 months. And to start this segment, I want to make it very apparent that I am a firm believer in this spiritual. I'm a firm believer in demons, spirits, all that sort of stuff. I am more of a, well, I guess you could say a proponent of that all spirits are evil, unless those that speak Christ as king. All other ones aren't to be trusted. So that's my take on it. That is mostly because I'm a Christian. I believe in God and I believe in Jesus. And if you take Jesus and you believe in Jesus, then you are taking what his word says about spirits, monsters, ghouls, ghosts, as gospel. See what I did there? Funny word thing. There's a crazy amount of Christians that don't believe in the spiritual, and that is it's very concerning and mind-boggling, because when we look at everything to do with Christianity, it's an inherently it's a spiritual belief. You should be focused on the spiritual. You should be aware of this stuff. So it's just like crazy. The other point that I want to make with this is I am understanding and I am perfectly fine with people believing in spirits and doing seances and Estus methods and so on and so forth, spiritual stuff, because it's a free country, at least here in America. The rest of the world, it kind of is a hit or miss. But I believe you're free to do what you want. You're free to believe what you want. You're free to do with those beliefs as you want. Obviously, there are going to be differences and conflicts between me and your beliefs. If you believe something different, or if you believe what I believe, I believe you're believing the truth. But you are free to believe anything you want. And that's the nature of humanity. We are free to believe as we wish what we believe. Be that furry or chicken. However, I do think it is important to note that because of my beliefs and because of what I've come across in my research and in my study, I do believe it is important to bring to light these methods, these beliefs, and these scenarios and so on, because I firmly believe that there are consequences and that there are detriments to these beliefs. That the people doing these things that are trying to live these lives of spiritual upheaval or spiritual well-being and spiritual enlightenment are not necessarily doing what is best for them in the long run. That is why I wanted to talk about it a little bit today, because I think it is important to bring to light and talk about this stuff, because I think it's, as with everyone's search for the truth. Everyone wants to know the truth about the world. It's just a question of what you fall on. I'm a firm believer, obviously, that God is the truth, the way, the light. No one comes to the Father except through him. Sorry, that always just comes out when I say that. But you may not believe that. And that's fine, because... Am I not nailing the point home that you're free to believe what you want, because liberty, justice, the American way, raw! I need to get an American Eagle just like to swoop across the screen right there. What I want to do now, though, is take you through that very first video, the Kelsi Davies video, that first kind of struck a chord in my heart and mind that I wanted to make this stream and video on. So this video came out in August of this year, has 200-something thousand views. It's an interesting video. It's kind of hits that niche of ghost hunting videos on YouTube that I've watched in the past. The only difference is I'm now looking at it from a different lens, a lens of reality, and that what they're encountering, what they're saying is true. I do not fully know if this video is 100% true, but looking at specifically this creator, Kelsi Davies, I believe her to be an actual psychic spiritualist. I don't know what she would call herself. I'm thinking a psychic. And from her content, I do believe that what she sees to be real. I still believe it to be bad and influencing her in a negative way, but she is living her life. As I said, she's free to do that. Real life Ghostbusters? Maybe. That's Actually, now you say that, Ghostbusters is fairly accurate when they are mentioning ghosts, because their main enemy at the end of the first Ghostbusters movie is a demon, which makes a lot of sense when you think about from the biblical perspective of spirits and ghosts. That ghosts aren't actually humans, that they're just spirits that are wandering around. They can take on any form that they want. They are seeking to destroy and so on. Man, maybe Ghostbusters is more realistic than I thought. Well, except for the whole them capturing them and so on. For this section of the video, I have a notebook here. I have a bunch of time codes and different notes on such that I will be going through. So if I'm looking down a lot, that's why. I'm sorry. I'm still learning how to do this format, or how I want to do this format. But with that being said, the first one being, she gives her the very, very creepy and understandably so intro to Camp Crystal Lake, the different surrounding events, the fact that it's a body dumping ground, this one story of a family that was killed and buried that is supposedly haunting the area. Bigfoot, as you can see in the background. But what I think is really funny about this is the intro.
UFOs and more. Hey Kelcast, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Kelsi Davies. We are shaking. We just caught a UFO on camera.
What in the world is that? It's all moving together. My heart's racing. Where did it go? Oh, it's still up.
Right out of the gate, we're getting supernatural stuff. I'm just joking. It's not actually supernatural. Those are just the Starlink satellites being took into orbit. So Elon Musk just coincidentally made these women for that night believe that for however long they were there just staring at it for like 20 minutes. Yeah. Those are just UFOs. Oh, great. Also, I think it's very funny when you introduce the video that it's very creepy, and then you immediately do a tonal shift to have your more upbeat, more classic YouTuber intro. It's just a very funny thing that I've noticed a lot, and something that I want to say right now that it's kind of a nostalgic thing is that this video very much hits that old school J Station or 3 a.m. videos that used to be around in what was that, 2017, 2018? And it like hits that nerve perfectly, and it's just like, man, this was YouTube back in the day. And it's almost like a time capsule to me of this is like how YouTube used to be, and I've just watched YouTube videos that are so different to it than what this video is generally. Oh, this is one note that I did have written down. That Kelsi has her unique name, KelsiCast, for her viewers, which is a straight out of the old time. That's straight up YouTube classic. Don't get too excited. Then the next part of the video that I want to discuss is at around the 340 mark.
Me, Kelsi, and this other girl. It was like somebody that I didn't know, but we were in somebody's house, kind of like waiting, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, this gray blob is yelling at me, "Not her," and pointing at you. "Not her, not her," so aggressively. And then I just woke up, and it was like
That's
gray.
So, the grays.
That's
like
so
the grays.
bizarre.
So right here. Crap, what was her name? What's important about that part is she was talking about a ghost, or a spirit encounter she had in a dream, where she was waking up, she was dreaming of Kelsi, one of the other girls, and there was a gray-headed thing that popped up and it was just like, ah, moo. No, I'm just making fun of that. But something that I want to make a point of with that is that more or less this whole sort of dream situation made me think, okay, there's something going on here. It's not fully just fake. And I want to actually, maybe I should say this now. I want to make this clear. When I started this thing, I wasn't fully convinced of this video. When I started having this, when I first had this put in my head, I was not fully convinced that this video that we are now going over and that any of the spiritual stuff that I was looking into was real, because I was like, okay, it's probably just played up for cameras. The next section, which is the most played section of the video, most replayed section, and I mean, I understand why, because I replayed it a bunch as well, is this section right here. It's not very considerate of her to call it a gray blob. If it's what she saw.
Oh wait, that's sticks.
Antholes?
No, they're sticks.
Oh, you thought they were bones?
I don't know. I thought they were something.
Can you feel me?
As we're walking
Ew.
to the tree. We definitely feel something, but we're not really sure what we're feeling. Is there someone over here?
There's a trash bag on the tree, though. You can see that. That's the only thing I know for certain about this clip.
Earlier, before like all of this happened, I saw this little, it was Ashley, we were sitting in the
Okay, but oh, that's a horrible frame to pause on. I'm very sorry, Kelsi. I'm very sorry. You look like you're high as a skunk. That section there where they're trying to, or they're saying that you could hear father, mother, and help us. I can't, I boosted up the volume of this video as much as I could. I could not hear mother. I could hear father. I couldn't hear the help us. The fact that she's put very scary in parentheses isn't convincing me. Well, that's kind of the thing. Like, it looks almost as if it's not real. It looks like they're just it's a setup. It's content for YouTube. As much as like a lot of J Station. I keep referencing J Station, but that's mainly the only channel I can remember off the top of my head as making content that was kind of like this. I mean, there are half a dozen channels, dozens of channels that make videos that are like, we contacted Mickey Mouse at 3 a.m. and he told us this secret sort of stuff. But it very much feels like it feels like it's fake. But at the same time, I'm choosing to believe what they're saying as they are telling the truth. And this is a good point of advice. Believe everything is truth unless otherwise evidenced to be false. That's just how I kind of go off my life. I believe what I hear unless otherwise it is not. I'm NNA Productions and I called Cars 2 at 3 a.m. He came to my house and killed me. Yeah, like that. Obviously something like that. Something like what they just had where they're showing a tree and there's audio. That is something that can easily be faked in a video. And that's partly why I'm like inclined to believe that it's fake, but at the same time, I don't think this is fake. As we'll be getting into later in the video, I don't believe any of this is fake. I believe, for the most part, everything that happens in this video is true. I think some of it could be played up and is possibly played up, but having watched other content of Kelsi's, I do not think it is. I gotta figure out my button props because I keep backtracking in videos. And that is also another horrible frame to be stuck on. I am so sorry, Kelsi. I'm not trying to paint you in a bad light. Or the next part that I want to bring up is when they discuss or talk about this.
The fourth one over there.
There's a
Hierarchy.
Hierarchy.
What? I don't know what any of these words mean. I need a
Isn't
dictionary.
a hierarchy like
Hierarchy
a...
means like
Yeah.
like a high being or like
Yeah.
a high.
Why is the video so
like-
choppy?
Yeah,
Oh, my
something
computer's
of a higher
overloaded.
standard.
That's why.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where I saw something like lower in the sky that lit up and then it was just like shoo.
Really?
Yeah, I swear.
I'm gonna put on this spirit meter. If you guys want this app, the link is down below in the description. Just be safe while you're using these apps. This one is kind of new and I've been enviable.
She's restarted. What? Oh, wait, I know what you mean. All right, so this is where my immediate fraud and this is all fake meter went boom. An app that will tell you words that are supposedly from spirits. If that does not just sound like a app that is playing random sounds and random words at random times, I don't know what else it is. To me, a person that has been, for the most part, for most of my life, been disbelieving. I have not really considered myself a believer up until 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever I really started doing my research for this video. Up until 2 weeks ago, I did not consider myself a believer or that I want to believe. Now I do believe, and I am confident that spirits do exist, demons do exist, and that terrifies me all the more that this app exists. At the very least, this app, this Spirit Box app, is a app that just plays random words at random points, or there are certain biometrics in it that it'll play stuff. At the worst, it is actually something that can be used to communicate with demons and spirits, which is what it is, after all, meant to be. It is meant to be a app that communicates with the spiritual realm. So that's all fun and games until, you accidentally talk to a demon. Then your life kind of starts to go downhill, or you have a psychic break. Those things happen. I've heard them. I've heard stories. It's not good. This is the app that we see them using in this video. Necrophonic. I think the biggest thing about this video, or about this app, is... excuse me. Where does it say? Is it up here? Yeah, right here. It's $10. This app here is $10. So, that's... Oh my goodness, dude. You can make so much money off of that. Again, just makes me think, like, is this real? But I'm inclined to believe it to be real. And then if we go to Chris Rogers down here, we can see that he has just made so many spirit apps. It's kind of funny. Scaranolia, Sweep Ghost Boss, Intentions, Necrometer, the Miracle Box, and then this PvP archery game. So he's really getting his net cast wide, because of course. I'm assuming phones don't have built-in spirit detectors. Yeah, obvious. Okay, so if we look at spirit boxes or spirit books for 1 second, Chris Rogers is running a vast gambit of apps. He has made a vast gambit of apps, and he runs just apps for spirit talking. When you are in the mind space of this, you have to think, okay, so 1, to buy this app, you need to believe that spirits can communicate through your phone. 2, you need to believe it so much you pay the astronomical price of $10, which, if it's a scam, is just a bunch of words and things that are set to go off at random to be coincidental spiritual encounters. Or 3, or at worst, it is, again, actually communicating with spirits, which I think is a dangerous practice to be doing, to be opening yourself up to spirits. Doesn't seem like a good idea. And then you also need to think, okay, then does Chris actually believe this, or does he know he's a scam? Is he purposely scamming, or is it real? Now, I can't really find that much out because if scam artist obviously wants to be selling a scam, so they're not going to be saying, no, I don't believe in it. But I have come across some videos from Chris Roger and so on. I didn't actually save those links. I didn't save the links to those videos. I'm a terrible YouTuber, chat. I'm terrible at this. But there are some videos that I have of him talking to dead people on videos and so on and so forth on YouTube. The apps are, at least the first ones he made, were pretty bad. And they feel fake. They feel real fake. So I am tending to believe that he's a scam artist. But that is just my opinion. There are no actual claims. Chris Rogers, if you see this, I'm not saying under testimony you are a scam artist. I am not. There's so many people that I'm trying to just upset today. This is hilarious. We'll see how this goes, I guess. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say on it, that it is still a very fickle business to be in the market of making apps for a phone. And as Tasty is saying, phones don't have built-in spirit detectors. I guess that code just changes it. And again, if you believe in demons and spiritual stuff, it makes sense that they could manipulate that stuff to talk to you, to deceive you, to lie to you, to make you jump off a cliff, to make you buy a Segway, to make you a Subway. Or it could all just be a fake. I'm trying to bring you the information, and I'm telling you my personal opinion. Be safe while using this app. Okay, I'm sorry, Jimmy, but you would be in denial to believe this. What do you mean? That you shouldn't believe in the app? Because is it more of a thought that this is fake? What do we know about Satan? What do we know about demons, though? I know most of you aren't as aware of Scripture, but there is a verse that there's one verse in particular that talks about how Satan is prowling around like a lion, waiting to ensnare you and entrap you, try to get you to do stuff. That last bit is very paraphrased. But there are verses that talk about how Satan schemes. If you are to believe that Satan is real, which as a Christian you should, which some Christians don't believe Satan exists, how? Satan is crafty. He will use ways to ensnare you, to get you tripped up, to make you interact with him.
I'm calling out to our guides
no, it is right here.
for
Never mind, I'm stupid.
protection. I'm calling out to our angels to protect us.
In this, Kelsi calls out to angels and spirit guides to protect them, which is a very interesting concept in new spiritualist beliefs. There are spirits out there that are guides and protecting. That angels do exist, which I believe all of that. I don't believe that there are spirits that are protecting you, but that angels exist is a very scary concept to me because of how, again, any spirit that does not proclaim Christ as King, don't trust it. Run away from it. But all the more, that is to say that angels exist, and I believe that angels do watch over us. I don't know to what extent, but there are Bible verses that discuss it. So I believe it. And then when we look at it, what is the idea of these spirit guides and so on and so forth? How are they impacting the person? Because a spirit guide, by definition, is a guide that's a spirit, that is spiritually guiding these persons. And I think this is an important note to make, that in guiding people spiritually, if you do not believe that spirits are demons and that they shouldn't be trusted, that they aren't trying to lead you astray, you are fully going to believe your spirit guides and trust what they say, trust where they guide you and all that sort of stuff. But if you, like me, believe that they are not to be trusted, then where are they guiding you? What are they guiding you to do? And are they actually benevolent, or are they malevolent? Because I think they're all bad doo-doo, bad voodoo. Voodoo is a completely different thing. I shouldn't have said that. That's more stuff I need to do research on. Don't mess with voodoo. Don't mess with occult stuff. The next part of the video that I want to discuss is a minute later. Especially in this section of the video where they're walking down this trail, they have a lot of stuff that they feel like is going on. And it kind of culminates with
Like
this. I don't know what her name was. I forgot. Wait. Yeah, I forgot what her name was. But she's talking about here where.
Yeah. And then I told her, started feeling nauseous, and I was like, maybe it's the elevation. Like, I don't know. I feel like off. I don't know if it's like the energy or because we're so high up or.
There's something not right here. I don't know if it's what Victor.
She says she's been having a feeling. It still involves a zodiac sign. Oh, interesting. She's been feeling the camera woman says she's been feeling off. She's emotional. She's wiping tears away from her face. And that everyone kind of just feels like it's off. This is all weird because as a redhead, she does not have a soul. She should not be able to interact with the spiritual realm. That is a joke. She's a fake redhead. So she can. I really... Dude, some people are probably going to hate my comedy. Then directly after this, they make a point to try to uplift their energy, which, if I am to understand correctly, is basically where you are self-motivating yourself to think positively. When you don't believe in God, the prayers you kind of do, like if you don't believe in a higher power per se, you believe that there are spirits, but you are trying to in trying to uplift your energies, you're just kind of praying to yourself that you feel better, that you do better. So that's a very interesting concept to just pray and be like, okay, it's the idea of self-actualization, of imagine yourself succeeding and you'll succeed, which is complete and utter BS. It's stupid. You can't self-actualize that sort of stuff because there's so many factors in the world that impede you. You can't make anything succeed without other people interfering. There are very few things that you can do that you can actually improve upon by just doing the work. The only one I can think of is dieting and maybe workout. But still, self-actualizing success is not going to happen unless you actually do the work that is required. And generally, if you self-actualize, you are not doing the work. You are just pretending to do the work.
Teresa.
Teresa?
Teresa.
Oh, Teresa.
Yeah.
Teresa. What? Maybe this is an open portal.
Like 1930s, I believe.
Like this, the way it's built and structured. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like a Wi-Fi symbol.
Right.
Okay, I just have to call it out here. She calls a campfire and a amphitheater a Wi-Fi signal. I am super annoyed at that because every single camp I've ever been to has their campfire set up like this. Unless you are out camping at a local camp area. Most big camps, they have a big campfire, and it's just like this, because that is how amphitheaters work. Do people not understand that having it look like a Wi-Fi signal is not because it's a Wi-Fi signal? It's because that's how it's best to have people sitting to see the campfire, to see the skits, to see the performances, to see the people talking at it. I that's the thing that the Boy Scout in me is just super annoyed at. It shows that people don't spend a lot of time at campfires, like campfires in camps. Like, I've grown up around campfires. They're all like this to some degree. Like, this one is a very nice stone-built one, but they're all like this. Waz, now I'm thankful that you'll be here for my first YouTube controversy. We'll see how well this goes. It is, though it is an interesting concept that it could be used as a Wi-Fi signal to have better connection, as the app was just saying, open portal. That's a very interesting idea, if that is true, which again I believe. So it's still just it grinds my gears, but at the same time I'm like, no, that makes sense. That makes sense from a spiritualist beliefs. YouTube machine loves content that favors the mentally inept. Wait, are you calling me stupid? That's rude. Most YouTuber content that is popular is for normies. So this video is probably not going to get many views. Like this type of content, this video that I'm making right now, I'm kind of crossing my fingers that it hits the niche that Mundagoon hit. But at the same time, I'm not guaranteeing it. My VODs generally get more views than my videos. My stream VODs. So maybe I just need to make more stream content like this. Next in the video is the Estus Method, which they don't actually explain in the video. I had to look up after I watched the video what the Estus Method is. And it is, to put it simple, a method of someone sitting in an area that we believe a spirit to be, or there to be like a, just spirits in general, ghosts, so on and so. Estus, dude, I was so freaked out when I first heard them call say the Estus Method. Where is it? Was it? Yeah, right here. The Estus Method. Because it's... Oh, come on.
Look out.
Don't move.
I was like, hold the phone. Elden Ring? What? Video game? Gamer brain? Figure it out. Boom. It was really funny to me. And then basically had to search up what an Estus Method is. It is simply another means to communicate with ghosts. This idea is that you are sitting in an area with soundproof headphones, so you cannot hear anything. You should not be able to hear anything. There are people going to be around you that ask ghosts questions, and then the person wearing the headphones will then say whatever they hear. Because again, if they're wearing headphones that are noise canceling, they should not be able to hear anything. So the idea is a ghost is asked questions by a person without headphones, without like earplugs. Someone with earplugs or headphones that you can't hear then says whatever they hear the spirit tell them. Again, this is a huge thing that it feels like couldn't they just fake it? And it feels like it could be a scam. But I have done research and I've seen articles, I've seen people talking about this stuff that believe it. And if my research about spirituality and spiritualism is to be believed, again, I'm beating a dead horse with a dead stick at this point. If these people are communicating with spirits and what they're doing is actually happening and it is not fake, it is real. They are communicating with spirits. They are communicating with demons. Do not do this. Don't do that. It would be really funny, though, if if you were just kind of chilling or just walking in a park and then you just run into fog, a fog wall appears, a health bar appears on the bottom of your screen, and then boss music plays. That would be funny. That would be funny, also terrifying. Something else that is to be mentioned about the section of them doing the Estus Method is the way it is cut in the video.
Look out.
Look out.
Don't move.
Why shouldn't we move?
Need help.
What do you need help with?
Move forward.
What do you need help with?
His crawl. There, me. 3.
Are there 3 of you
He
here?
did say there were 3 spirits earlier. Yeah.
It's just me.
Can you make a noise?
The look.
Can anyone in the chat right now tell me what is happening that is not the Estus Method? Is there anyone in chat that can tell me right now? Is there anyone in the comments? Is there anyone that can tell me what is happening in that clip that, from what I just described the Estus Method is not happening? That is correct. They are not asking questions. Mackenzie, the girl that's sitting down, right here, Mackenzie is just saying words that she's hearing. This is not the way the Estus Method is supposed to work from my research. It is supposed to be them answering what is asked of it. There are a few parts where they do ask questions a little later on, but what I showed you, she's just saying words. So that's already like a weird flag that's being sent up. I don't want to say it's from my little amateurist information, that is a red flag on the Estus Method. You aren't asking questions of the spirit, she's just saying words. They ask a few questions, but as kind of expected, the questions that are asked, the answers, the words that she says don't make sense. You can look up you can watch the video. I don't think I noted down the timestamp. I did not. Of when it happens, you can just find it, watch it later, or wait for me to edit the video. I'll figure it out. And what's very interesting about this video in particular is when this happens, when you are when I watch this video from beginning to end, it is a thing that I felt they set up the Estus Method in a way to make you feel more afraid and scared in the moment of the video. Be nice to the lady. She can't help it that her name's Mackenzie. So I am thinking that it's partly a narrative thing that they wanted to put it here to keep you on edge, because the video's, at this point, it's been 18 minutes. The only other thing to note of this part, it's not, I haven't really done a lot of research into it, but there is a mention at the end of or towards the end, after the Estus Method, of a REM pod, which is a device that is meant to locate and tell you of a spirit being nearby. That it will be pinged when a spirit is nearby, and it is letting you know, hey, there's a spirit here, be wary. Or just letting you know that there's a goat around. Again, it's not really mentioned in this video, but it feels like, much like the Spirit app, like it's a device that is being used to sell a scam. And I think that is kind of the thing that I want to talk about right now. in watching this video, when I first watched it, as Duck was saying earlier, there are a whole bunch of red flags that are being sent off, that this is a scam, that this is all fake, that this is what's going on. This is stupid. It's not actually real. And that was my first initial watch of this. I then rewatched it a few more times because I took down notes. I wanted to prepare better for this video. And it's one of those things that if you take these things to be true, if you believe in spirits, and as I do, then what they're saying, it's not that far-fetched that there's something that can locate a spirit. Spirits can use that. Spirits can let their presence be known. And especially if you are, this is a little spoilery for later in the video, when you are tuning yourself and trying to communicate with spirits, spirits will reach out and communicate with you. They will touch you. They will feel. They will ingrain themselves in your life. Kelsi Davies, specifically, most of her shorts are about the different encounters she has with ghosts around her house. She has I think 4 or 5 ghosts that just interact with each other in her house. If you are looking at it from a purely comedy or perspective of, oh, okay, she's making these up, that's fine. But if you believe it to be true, then she has 5 ghosts in her house that are demons that are just rolling about, interacting with her, deceiving her on who or what they are, and having these weird interactions with her. Okay. And then if you take it from a perspective of they're hoax and they're just meant to be money makers, that is feasible as well. I do not believe Kenzie is a scammer in this regard, that she is a fake. I actually kind of think that the Witch of Endor that's mentioned in Samuel, that she was a hoax, she was a fake, and she was shocked, especially with how it's worded. It kind of seems like she was surprised a spirit was summoned, almost as if she hadn't had interactions with spirits. But then we get to the modern day, we get to technology. There is a huge market for paranormal equipment to communicate with people. Spirit boxes, phone apps, REM pods, various other things. Those are the few I can list off the top of my head. And when you go to some of these websites, they are remarkably super expensive. So it feels like it could just be a scam. To summarize, I think these rinky-dinky rituals and rites are pretty stupid. I don't understand why you'd want to do them. And that's coming from me, a Christian. And with that, many people do believe it. Many more people do not believe it. And I think that is kind of the quintessential place that Satan wants you to be in. That you don't believe in him, so he can just do what he wants. He can go about and do as he please. Those that do believe in spirits and so on can interact with him, and Satan can use that. And then there are those like me that are Christians that know spirits are to not be trusted except those that believe in Christ, which are angels. And that we are the people that are under attack. We are the people that Satan needs to be wary for. And that's why I'm making this video. Because these practices, in which I believe them to be, leave the precedent for you and me to interact and communicate with demons. And that can be regardless of whether or not you believe in God. If you believe in God, you can still do these practices and still have interactions with the spiritual. story that was told to me of a Ouija board. Oh, quick note: don't use an Ouija board. Not a good idea. Don't do it. Because of this story, a pastor, a mentor of mine, told me a story of when he was younger. He had an encounter with an Ouija board where he and 3 other buddies were doing an Ouija board, and they were in a basement. When the kind of time where they were playing doing the Ouija thing was done, the Ouija board eyepiece flew off. I do not believe my pastor, my mentor, to be lying. So something caused it to fly off the board and hit the wall. Everyone else there at the time as well believed it because they all ran out of the room. That's scary. Another story about an Ouija board. There was a story that I heard from a former psychic of an Ouija board. They asked it who was next to die. The board said this one girl that was in the group, and a few weeks later she killed herself. So remember, kids, if you see a specter late at night, simply ask it if it's heard the word of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. If it screams really loud as if its gut was being wrenched from its stomach, run. It means to sell you a TurboTax bundle. It's not to be trusted, just like the IRS. When we encounter the spiritual, we can encounter the spiritual, each and every one of us, any number of times. I've heard stories on here of people having spiritual encounters where their house was shaken, their room was shaken by spirits. I have, for years, seen shadowy figures out of the corner of my eye, which at times I've believed to just be figments of my imagination. Other times I've believed to be real. I am mixed on whether or not all of them are real or all of them are fake. I'm confident a few of them were actual presences that were watching me. And I know for a fact that a few weeks ago, I had a dream where I had a demonic spirit try to pull me away from God. I was on a porn set, which is very fun to just think about, just being on that. Then I was watching this guy talk about, hey, yeah, down that road back there is where they do them. That's where they do them. In my dream, he says, that's where the Mexicans do their demonic rituals, or occult rituals, is one of the two. I just remember him saying Mexican. So, I'm sorry, but that's my dream. And then he starts to take a few steps. As he's taking a step, I feel a force pull me down the, whatever we want to call it, the pathway, the ritual summoning ground. And the only way I can describe this is anyone that's played Doom or Doom Eternal, the images of glyphs and like the demonic stone during certain parts of the campaign when you're playing through the game, you have a vision and it just like flashes demonic symbols and visions of the future, visions of the past. It was like that, except also had animal sacrifices of some sort. Very, very disturbing stuff. And the only way I could wake up was by saying Jesus over and over and over again. I would have been stuck there probably for longer, but I just remember waking and just having this horrible feeling in my gut of this encounter I had. So I believe that to be a spiritual, more a spiritual psychic attack that happened. And that was 2 or 3 days after I had decided I was going to do this stream and the video I'm going to make from this be my next video on YouTube. So I believe that Satan does not want me to make this video in any form. Just keep what I've said tonight in mind. I am not going to, again, tell you to not do anything. You're free to do what you want. This is America, unless you're Canadian. Wasnow, I love you, though. You're still free to do what you want. You're still free to believe you want. This is what I believe. This is what I want to bring to you. I'm probably going to rewatch this stream and think it's horribly out of place and just like I did a terrible job connecting everything. But I want to say that I have done some research. I've watched some interviews talking about Christians that were former psychics and former witches and former astrology girls. That's the only way I can think of it. And their stories have only further convicted me of making this video. But I wanted to bring this up to you because this covers kind of the bare bones. So the final, I just realized I had my earbuds in for all this recording. I didn't listen to any audio while I was doing this recording session. Oops. I'm not listening back to what I'm saying. I'm just hoping it sounds good. Okay. But what I basically am wanting to do, as much as I struggled with the intro to this video, I didn't even think about the outro. I didn't even think about how I'm going to conclude this video because it's been the back burners of my brain for the past few weeks. Because the intro is a lot more important than the conclusion. And because I've ultimately said my conclusion in the intro to this video, I laid down what I think is important to understand about spirituality, why it's important to know what we're talking about, to know the good, the bad, the ugly, everything there is to know about it, and that I think it is dangerous to be going about and doing these things if you are not aware of what it could lead to. I'm hoping that I did a good job in explaining where that could go. I haven't fully finished editing the video, so you might see me again, but if not, I hope that this video, as I said earlier, finds you in good health. I pray for your safety, and I just am hoping that this video was able to help you in some way understand better about the spiritual, look at the spiritual world if you are agnostic to it, or if you are aware of it, that all the more you need to be aware of it. I've been watching a lot of H Bomber Guy recently because as of this recording, his Plagiarism in You video came out, I think 5 days ago. And just realizing how much I've been drawing from that, about how concise and how good of scripts he has and how good of just videos he makes. And I'm like, man, my videos suck. And also just been watching that, and then watching these other channels that in a sense I idolize because they had the success that I don't, by just talking about things that they think are very important or are just interesting to them. And I just hope that this video gets a fraction of that, because I think it's important that we look at these things to understand. And if you are all the way to this point in this video, I do also just want to tell you, I am in no way attacking. I think I've said this like 3 or 4 times in the video, but I'm not attacking anyone in this video for doing what they do. I've called out some things that I think are to be wary of, beyond just, yeah, you might talk to demons and ghosts, but in that, I hope none of it is seen as malicious, because ultimately this is all done out of love for people out there that maybe don't know any better. And I know some people will be like, well, I do know better. Your video sucked. Why'd you make this? And this is where the video is going to conclude, because I think I've been talking for 20 minutes. It's been 30 minutes. I've been talking for 30 minutes, and I want to start editing the footage. But as always, I hope you had a good night. Till next time, Godspeed. God bless. Peace.